Ever feel like you need to understand the hidden gears that make things work, especially, in our digital world?
Absolutely, it's everywhere.
Well, today we're kind of cracking open the essentials of network administration. We found this great resource. It's a set of real interview questions for an assistant network administrator.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and think of this not just as like prep material, but more as a shortcut to understanding the core principles that keep our networks, well, humming.
Exactly. These questions, they often act like a roadmap, don't they? They point to the fundamental knowledge you need to really grasp the backbone of modern IT.
Totally.
From the physical gear to security measures and even what to do when things inevitably go sideways. It's actually a pretty comprehensive overview when you look at it that way.
It really is. This source covers a huge range, from basic hardware right up to keeping things secure and running smoothly. So, our mission today, I guess, is to pull out the most vital info hidden in these common interview questions, the stuff that gives you a real feel for network administration's core.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Okay, so let's start right at the foundation. The devices, we're talking hubs, switches, and routers. These terms get thrown around a lot. What's the fundamental difference we really need to get?
Well, the key thing here is understanding how network communication has evolved. Think of a hub as the old school way, really basic.
Okay.
It takes any signal coming in and just blasts it out to every other device connected, like shouting in a crowded room.
All right.
The main downside, tons of unnecessary traffic, potential for data collisions,
Yeah.
really impacts speed and efficiency.
Yeah, sounds pretty messy. Everyone hearing everything, even if it's not for them. So how did switches improve on that?
Switches with a clever upgrade. A switch actually learns. It looks at the data packets coming in to figure out which device is plugged into which port.
Okay, it builds a little map.
Pretty much. Once it knows that, it sends data only to the device it's meant for. Moving from that broadcast shouting to targeted communication, well, that was a game changer for network speed. Reduced congestion massively.
That makes perfect sense, like going from a loudspeaker to a direct phone call.
Exactly. And it's still fundamental to how our local networks work today.
Got it. And then there's the router. What's its main job that we need to understand?
So if a switch manages traffic within one network, a router's core job is connecting different networks together.
Ah, the connector.
Yeah, think of it as the traffic director for the wider world. It looks at the destination address on the data
Hmm.
and figures out the best path to get it there, whether that's, down the hall or across the planet to some website.
Right.
And actually, the source mentions Cisco as a big name for routers and switches. They build a lot of this core stuff. And it also mentions Fortinet for firewalls, which, as we'll see, are super important for security, sort of the gatekeepers between these networks.
Okay, so quick recap. Hub is basic broadcast, switch is smart delivery inside a network, and router connects different networks.
Got it. Right, moving up a level from the devices themselves. How are networks organized efficiently? Subnetting comes up, sounds a bit technical. What's the core idea there? Yeah, subnetting can sound intimidating, but the core benefit really boils down to manageability and performance, especially for larger networks.
Okay.
Imagine like trying to manage all the addresses in a huge city with just one massive address range. Chaos,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Subnetting is like dividing that city into smaller neighborhoods or districts. You break down a big network into smaller subnetworks. This contains that broadcast traffic we talked about, stops it flooding the whole network, so better performance.
Right, keeps the noise down.
Exactly. And crucially, it adds a security layer by isolating different parts. The different departments in a company may be needing their own separate logical network space.
So creating order, improving speed, and security through logical divisions. Okay, clear benefit. The source also mentions DHCP. Seems like one of those background things. What's the key advantage we should appreciate about DHCP?
Oh, DHCP is a lifesaver for network admins. Its essential advantage is automation, specifically automating IP address assignment. Without it, every single device joining the network, your phone, your laptop, everything, would need someone to manually type in a unique IP address.
Wow, that sounds tedious and error prone.
Hugely. You get conflicts all the time, two devices accidentally given the same address, knocking them offline. DHCP just handles all that automatically,
Yeah.
makes adding devices smooth, prevents those clashes. It's really the silent workhorse keeping things connected easily.
Definitely sounds like it prevents a lot of headaches. Now, VLANs, virtual LANs also get mentioned. How do they fit into organizing networks efficiently?
VLANs are really powerful. They let you segment a network logically, not just physically, based on which switch you're plugged into.
So virtual boundaries?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Even if devices are on the same physical switch, you can group them into separate broadcast domains using VLANs, like having different virtual networks running over the same hardware.
What's the main benefit of doing that?
Well, better security is a big one. You can isolate traffic, say, keep the guest Wi-Fi totally separate from the internal company network, even if they use the same physical switches.
Ah, I see.
Plus, it improves performance and makes management easier by keeping broadcast traffic contained within just that specific VLAN.
Okay, so VLANs are like drawing virtual lines for better security and organization. Makes sense. Now, things don't always run perfectly, right? Networks go down. The source talks about handling outages. What's the critical mindset for troubleshooting?
The absolute key is being systematic, methodical. It's not about just randomly trying stuff and hoping.
Right, no flailing around.
Exactly. The source outlines a logical flow. First, figure out the scope. Is it just one person, a whole floor, everyone?
Okay, define the problem.
Then isolate the cause. Check the easy stuff first, the physical layer. Are cables plugged in? Lights on the devices? You'd be surprised how often it's something simple.
Good point. Don't skip the basics.
Never. Then check logs. They often have clues, error messages, and importantly, know when to escalate. If you're stuck, get someone with more specific expertise involved.
And communication, I guess. Letting people know what's happening.
Oh, definitely. Clear communication is crucial. Keeps users informed and manages expectations.
That systematic approach sounds vital, like being a detective. The source even had that anecdote, didn't it, about intermittent internet drops.
Yeah, and it turned out to be a faulty switch needing replacement.
Right. It highlights how sometimes it is a physical thing, not some super complex software
Oh,
issue.
jeez. Troubleshooting 101 sometimes.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit to security. Huge topic.
Yeah.
What are the fundamental defense layers our source points out?
Well, the big insight for network security is that it has to be layered. There's no single magic bullet.
Makes sense. Defense in depth.
Precisely. The source hits several key points. Firewalls are like the border control, checking traffic coming in and going out based on rules you set.
The first line of defense.
Then, keeping device firmware updated is critical. Patches close security holes that are always being found.
Constant battle, that one.
It is. Then you have the basics. Strong, unique passwords. VLANs, like we discussed, help contain breaches if they happen. Encryption is vital for scrambling sensitive data so others can't read it.
Right.
And finally, regular security audits.
Right.
You need to proactively look for weaknesses. And of course, handling confidential network info means strict access control and encryption are non-negotiable.
So yeah, not just one wall, but multiple layers constantly maintained and checked.
Got it.
Now, how do admins actually keep an eye on all this complex stuff? Monitoring tools were mentioned. What's the main value they bring?
Visibility. That's the core value of tools like PRTG or SolarWinds. They give admins a window into the network's health and performance.
Like a dashboard.
Exactly. Tracking things like bandwidth use, our devices up or down, error rates, all in real time or close to it.
So you can spot problems brewing.
Yes, that's the key. Identify potential bottlenecks or issues before they cause a major outage. Allows for preventative work, faster fixes when things do break. It's like an early warning system.
Incredibly valuable, I bet. Okay, the source also mentioned DNS. We use it constantly without even thinking. What's its essential job?
DNS is basically the internet's phone book. Its job is translating the human-friendly website names we type, like example.com, into the numerical IP addresses the computers actually use to find and talk to each other. Without DNS, we'd have to memorize strings of numbers for every site.
Nobody wants that.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
So DNS is really the unsung hero making the internet usable for us regular humans.
Makes the internet much less intimidating, for sure. Okay, so monitoring helps keep things running. DNS makes it user-friendly. What about preparing for the worst? Documentation, backup, recovery, why are they so critical?
Oh, they're absolutely vital for business continuity. Think about the impact if the network goes down hard.
Yeah, everything stops.
Pretty much. Good documentation, network diagrams, configs for devices, IP address lists, change logs, that's your blueprint. Without it, fixing things or making changes is a nightmare.
Flying blind.
Exactly. Regular backups of device configurations mean you can quickly restore settings if a device fails or gets misconfigured.
Okay.
But crucially, and this is key, you have to test your recovery process regularly, make sure those backups actually work, and you have a solid plan to get things back online fast. Just having a backup isn't enough.
Right. It's like having insurance, but never checking if the policy covers what you need or how to actually make a claim. Makes total sense.
Mm.
Now, wireless networks also got to mention, what kind of things would an assistant network admin typically handle there?
Right, wireless is everywhere now.
Hmm.
So an assistant admin would likely be involved in setting up the wireless network itself, configuring the SSID, the network name you see,
Yep.
and setting up the encryption, like WPA2 or WPA3 to keep it secure.
Yeah.
And then there's the day-to-day troubleshooting when users have connection problems.
My Wi-Fi isn't working.
Exactly that. Investigating why someone can't connect. Checking signal strength, maybe looking for interference or too many devices trying to connect at once.
So, setup, security, and troubleshooting user issues. Essential skills these days.
Definitely.
And that leads nicely into supporting users directly. What are the key things for good end user support in networking?
Communication is paramount. Being clear, being patient. When someone reports a problem, you need to gather the details first. What exactly is happening? When did it start?
Get the stories straight.
Right. Then, if you can, try to replicate the issue yourself. That helps pinpoint the cause, and explaining technical stuff in plain English is crucial.
Yeah, avoiding jargon.
Absolutely. Giving clear, step-by-step instructions empowers users, builds trust, and helps them maybe even fix similar things later. Good customer service skills are just as vital as the tech knowledge.
Sounds like being a good communicator and a bit of a detective again.
It often is.
Okay, finally, the source mentions staying current and career paths. What's the takeaway about learning in this field?
The main takeaway. It never stops. Networking changes so fast, continuous learning isn't just nice to have, it's, well, essential.
How do people do that?
Lots of ways. Reading tech blogs, industry news, hanging out in online forums like Cisco's communities are great for learning from others. Taking online courses for specific skills, attending webinars, conferences, just constantly absorbing new info.
So staying curious.
Definitely. And the source mentioned aspiring to get certified, like becoming a certified network engineer. That shows a commitment to growing and wanting to tackle more strategic stuff, like network design.
So it's a field where you're always learning, which can be, yeah, both challenging and pretty exciting.
For sure.
Well, that's a fantastic run through. So basically digging into these assistant network admin interview questions really does give you a solid handle on the core concepts.
Mhm.
We've touched on the main devices, how networks get organized for efficiency, the right way to troubleshoot, those crucial security layers, monitoring, management, why documentation and backups matter so much, wireless basics, user support, and the need to keep learning.
Exactly. These questions aren't just abstract. They really map onto the core knowledge needed to understand how modern networks actually function, stay secure, and keep running. Understanding these ideas gives you real insight into the complex systems underpinning, well, everything we do online.
Yeah, absolutely. So for everyone listening, maybe take a second to think about all the networks you interact with every day. Your home Wi-Fi, the internet itself, that massive infrastructure. And reflect on some of the principles we've talked about that make it all work, often without you even noticing. What part of network administration do you find most interesting and why? Definitely something to mull over. Thanks for diving deep with us.